What if the constant feeling of being late, anxious, or out of sync with life isn't a personal flaw, but evidence that something is fundamentally wrong with the way reality has been explained to you? Have you noticed it? That quiet pressure beneath the surface of your days. The sense that time is always chasing you, even when nothing is actually wrong. You wake up tired, not because you didn't sleep, but because it feels like you're running inside an invisible system that never slows down. You try to be present, to breathe, to enjoy the moment, yet something keeps pulling your attention forward, as if you're missing an appointment you never agreed to. Most people call this stress. Some call it anxiety. But what if it's neither? What if it's your subconscious mind detecting a mismatch between what you've been taught and how reality actually works? Across cultures and generations, people are reporting the same subtle symptoms. Time feels compressed. Days blur together. Meaningful moments vanish too quickly, while painful ones stretch endlessly. There's an underlying intuition that reality isn't behaving the way it should. From the perspective of quantum consciousness, these experiences are not random. They are signs that awareness is beginning to sense the hidden reality beneath the surface layer of everyday life. Signs that a spiritual awakening may already be unfolding, quietly, without ceremony. You were raised inside a framework where time is treated as absolute, linear, and scarce. A force that moves forward, regardless of your inner state. This belief shaped everything. How you measure success, how you judge yourself, how you relate to others. It trained your nervous system to live in urgency and comparison. But the quantum field tells a very different story. At deeper levels of physics and consciousness, time behaves less like a solid structure and more like a perceptual construct, something dependent on observation, awareness, and frequency, something deeply entangled with consciousness itself. This is why so many people today feel that something is wrong with reality. Your vibration is shifting. Your frequency is changing. As your awareness expands, the old mental framework struggles to keep everything coherent. The subconscious mind senses this first, long before the intellect can explain it. It shows up as restlessness, confusion, or the persistent feeling that reality is accelerating, destabilizing, or quietly collapsing. But this discomfort isn't a malfunction. It's friction between outdated programming and a deeper truth trying to emerge. Here's the part few people ever say out loud. If this resonates with you, it's not because you're broken. It's because you're perceptive, sensitive, tuned in. The same quantum field that governs energy, particles, and information also responds to consciousness. When your inner state changes, the way reality organizes around you begins to shift. This is why awakening often feels unsettling before it feels empowering. You're sensing beyond clocks, routines, and inherited beliefs into something far more fundamental. And if you're here right now, hearing this, it's not accidental. People who never question reality don't feel this pull. They don't sense the cracks. They don't wonder why time feels artificial or why certain moments feel charged with meaning. This space exists for those who do. For those who feel the quiet call to look beneath appearances and explore how the quantum field, vibration, and awareness shape experience from the inside out. So stay with me, not because you need answers handed to you, but because what you're about to explore may finally give language to sensations you've carried for years. We are not going to rush. We're not going to simplify. And we're not going to stop at surface explanations. Because once you begin to see how time, consciousness, and reality truly interact, it becomes impossible to look at your life the same way again. That shift becomes clearer when you look at how time was introduced to you from the very beginning. You were taught that time is linear, absolute, and scarce, something constantly running out, something you must chase or fall behind. Without noticing, your subconscious mind absorbed this as a survival rule. It shaped how you evaluate your worth, how you compare your path to others, and why you feel uneasy when you slow down. This is how the illusion of time quietly became a source of fear, not because time itself is harsh, but because the perception of time was framed as pressure. In the hidden reality beneath daily routines, time is not experienced as a straight line. It bends with perception, emotion, and attention. The quantum field does not respond to deadlines or urgency. It responds to vibration, frequency, and awareness. Yet modern life trained you to experience reality as if you are always late, always catching up, always missing something essential. That constant tension is not a personal failure. It is the result of subconscious programming reinforced by a system that thrives on comparison, speed, and distraction. When reality is treated as linear and scarce, anxiety becomes normal. As your awareness grows, you begin to notice cracks in this model. Moments of deep presence feel timeless, while moments of fear stretch endlessly. Your perception of time changes depending on energy and intention. These shifts are not anomalies. They are signals that reality is not linear in the way you are taught. Even science has begun to notice these inconsistencies, quietly questioning whether time is truly fundamental or whether it emerges from something deeper. And in that realization, relief appears. If time is not absolute, then the story that says you are behind in life begins to dissolve. If this perspective resonates, you are not alone. This space exists to explore these ideas together, to share insight without judgment, and to strengthen awareness through connection. When you engage thoughtfully, whether by reflecting, subscribing, or adding your voice, the collective energy of the community grows. Stay with this thread of understanding, because what we are moving toward next takes this realization far beyond theory and into something intensely personal, something that changes how you see yourself within reality itself. That growing sense of relief naturally opens the door to a deeper question. Because once the old story about time begins to crack, you start wondering why it was presented as unquestionable in the first place. And this is where modern physics quietly enters the conversation. At the edges of quantum physics and cosmology, time is no longer treated as a simple backdrop where reality unfolds. In fact, many scientists now describe time not as a fundamental building block, but as something that emerges from relationships, information, and observation within the quantum field. In these models, reality does not move neatly from past to present to future. Instead, those categories begin to blur, behaving more like perspectives created by perception and fixed locations. Experiments at the quantum level repeatedly show that the observer effect cannot be ignored. Observation changes outcomes. Perception participates. This suggests that consciousness is not separate from reality, but deeply entangled with it. From this view, time appears less like an external force and more like a measurement generated by awareness, interacting with energy and frequency. The hidden reality hinted at here is not speculative mysticism. It is an open question in modern physics, discussed carefully, often quietly, because it challenges long-held assumptions. This is why terms like time as an emergent property exist at all. They point to the possibility that what you experience as time arises from how the subconscious mind organizes memory, information, and attention. Past and future may not be distant places, but patterns encoded in the present moment, accessed through perception and vibration. Science does not claim this as absolute truth, only as an indication that the old model is incomplete. And incompleteness is where curiosity and expansion begin. If this perspective feels intriguing rather than threatening, that's not accidental. It means your awareness is ready to explore beyond surface explanations. This channel exists to hold that space where quantum consciousness and scientific inquiry meet without simplification. Staying present, reflecting, and engaging here helps strengthen that shared field of exploration. Remain with this thread, because what comes next moves beyond theory and into something far more personal, where these ideas begin to mirror your own inner experience. This is the moment when the ideas stop living in theory and begin echoing inside your own experience. You feel the illusion of time in your body long before you explain it with words. Anxiety appears because your subconscious mind believes something is always running out. Guilt forms because a linear story says you should already be somewhere else. Trauma lingers because memory is not stored in a distant past, but encoded as information within your field of perception. In the quantum field, nothing is truly gone. Experiences remain as patterns of energy and frequency, accessible whenever awareness collapses onto them. This is why déjà vu can feel so intense, almost unsettling. It's not simply a mental glitch. It's a moment where perception slips outside the usual timeline and recognizes a familiar configuration of reality. The same applies to synchronicities, those precise encounters that arrive with meaning at exactly the right moment. From the perspective of quantum consciousness, these are not coincidences. They are signs that your vibration is interacting coherently with the hidden reality beneath appearances. Consciousness creates reality, not through force, but through resonance. If you've ever noticed time slowing during moments of pain, or disappearing entirely during love, creativity, or deep presence, you've already experienced this firsthand. Those moments outside of time are not errors. They are signals of expansion of consciousness. Something within you has begun to perceive that reality is fluid, responsive, alive. This shift often brings confusion before clarity, because the old framework no longer fully explains what you're sensing. And that can feel isolating until you realize that others are sensing it too. That recognition is why this space exists. It's not about convincing anyone, but about being understood. When you listen, reflect, and share your experience, the exchange itself becomes part of the energetic field we're exploring together. If these words feel like they describe something you've quietly carried for years, this channel speaks your language. Staying connected here, subscribing, or adding your voice is not about the platform, but about belonging to a community aligned with awareness, curiosity, and conscious perception. And as this understanding deepens, what comes next begins to reshape not only how you see time, but how you see yourself within reality. And as this understanding settles, a quieter truth begins to surface. Time was never meant to be a prison. It was a model, a tool the mind uses to navigate experience, not a force designed to measure your worth or limit your potential. When you look through the lens of quantum consciousness, you start to sense that awareness is more fundamental than time itself. Consciousness doesn't move forward minute by minute. It exists as a field, vast and responsive, within which moments arise. Time unfolds inside perception, not the other way around. And when perception shifts, reality responds. This is where fear slowly gives way to inner power. If reality responds more to observation than to the ticking of a clock, then your state of awareness matters deeply. Your vibration, your frequency, your inner coherence influence how energy organizes itself around you. The subconscious mind is not passively waiting for a future that hasn't arrived. It is constantly interacting with the quantum field, shaping possibilities through attention and meaning. Every subtle change in perception sends ripples through the hidden reality, adjusting how experience takes form. This isn't about controlling life, it's about aligning with it. As consciousness expands, you may begin to notice a quiet intelligence beneath events, a sense that reality is not random but responsive. Some call it order, others call it source, others sense it as a unifying field of energy connecting all things. Quantum spirituality doesn't ask you to abandon reason or science. It asks you to look deeper, to feel the structure beneath the surface. If time is not fundamental, then something else must be. Something that gives rise to patterns, continuity, and meaning across all levels of existence. The moment you sincerely ask what that source is, your relationship with reality begins to change. This shift brings responsibility, but not burden. You become more aware of how your energy affects not only your inner world, but the space around you. Conversations feel charged, moments feel intentional. Even uncertainty carries a strange sense of direction. This is not escape from life. It's deeper participation. Reality stops feeling like something that happens to you and starts to feel like something unfolding with you. Once that door opens, it doesn't close, because perception itself has expanded. And naturally, the next question arises. If time is a model and consciousness is more fundamental, then what is the true source organizing the quantum field? Is it chance? Or is there a deeper intelligence humanity has tried to name for centuries? That question leads directly into our next exploration, where quantum physics and the idea of God intersect in ways that challenge both belief and logic. This is where things deepen even further. Before moving forward, let this moment land. If something here resonated, Acknowledge it. And if you feel aligned, leave a comment with a phrase that reflects your state right now. Something like, I am awakening, I see beyond, or I am expanding. These shared signals strengthen the energetic field of this community. A conscious like helps this message reach others who are quietly searching. And sharing it with one person who came to mind can create a meaningful ripple. We're standing at the edge of something much larger, and what comes next builds directly on everything you've just felt.